My name is Raymond Omar. I'm the middle school principal at Sharon Middle School, Sharon City School District. Approximately 3 years ago, we identified some literacy issues amongst our student body as a hindrance of their ability to learn in the classroom across all content areas. As a result, we started researching best practices and discovered that Reading Apprenticeship was a natural model for our teachers to use during the planning and preparation and also the delivery phase of each lesson that would help us be mindful across curriculum of the literacy needs of our students.
Hi, I'm Holly Meyer. I teach math, 7th grade all the way through 11th.
Hello, I'm Ed Roberson. I teach here at Sharon High School. I've been teaching 10th grade American history for the past 4 years.
My name's Eric Wenger. I teach at Sharon High School, and I teach mathematics.
I teach 8th grade earth science.
Hello, I am Elisa Tisville, and I teach 8th grade English at Sharon Middle High School.
My name is Gary Revelle. I teach social studies here at Sharon High School, in particular disciplines over the last 15 years, economics, government, and AP government. Also have had some classes in psychology.
To those of you starting off with the Reading Apprenticeship program, maybe to put your concerns at ease, I would say not to feel overwhelmed. It's a lot of information at first and it needs time to just settle. However, you probably are going to find there are things you're already doing that you just need to modify, or now you're just going to be more aware of the fact that they are actually RA.
Reading Apprenticeship is a reading program designed to help students, and it certainly does that. But what I've really appreciated the fact was how much it helped me teach reading, how much confidence it gave me in teaching reading. I always understood that it was important for kids to read in class and read their textbook, something that they typically don't do. They want the concrete action, turn in this for the 10 points. And if you tell them to read, well, that's not really giving them homework. So I always gave it the lip service, but I never felt real confident on how to instruct reading, figuring I didn't want to do it wrong. Reading Apprenticeship gave me a little bit of confidence that I could stand in front of the kids and say, let's do this reading task to help us read.
What would I say to teachers who are just beginning with RA? I think they should just understand that RA is designed not to necessarily just give you a bunch of new strategies, but to get you to understand why and how you teach the subject matter that you're teaching. Students, I think, will have a greater appreciation for the whole teaching and learning process if they have a rationale as to why they're approaching the text the way they are. And Reading Apprenticeship helps do that.
It's applicable to all teachers, no matter what subject they teach or what grade level they teach, and it really helps students to truly understand what they're reading, and I think that they're able to make connections to the text, and it makes reading purposeful.
And at the beginning, when I was assigned to do a reading apprenticeship, I was thinking, I'm a math teacher, now they want me to teach reading. And there's no way I can teach reading because that's not my field, that's not my content. But I was surprised that really it's not focusing so much on teaching reading, it's how the student thinks and they comprehend. So a lot of the strategies that I use, I try to actually teach with strategies. I do a lot of talking to the text when I'm showing how step-by-step to do a math problem. Writing to the text when I'm actually doing it. I may have a math problem on the board and then I will have the steps on the side. And I will actually write what I'm doing in words step by step. That way when they go back and look at their notes, they see the math problem done, and then there's also step by step how it was actually done. And that seems to really help the students these days, because they have something to look back at. And now they're understanding, when they go back and look at a problem, why they did it, because it's written right next to it.
I do remember RA being an overall approach to teaching to get students to really be apprentices to you as a teacher, so that they can really approach the subject matter the way you do, to get them to think the way you do as you're approaching the subject matter, especially when it comes to reading the text and related materials that go along with it. So this really had a shift in my thinking, as from me being their teacher to being somebody who's just trying to mentor them in history, instead of just trying to teach them history and to get them to understand the concepts.
The reading apprenticeship strategies, I wouldn't say are new, it just brings you to a focus on them, so that you say to yourself as you're going through the lesson preparation, oh yeah, I could throw this in there or that in there to highlight certain things, or to prepare for something later on down the road. Right now we're doing research papers in my math classes to finish up the year, and a lot of the small things we did throughout the year are starting to surface now when they start to discuss different readings they had to do online, and saying, is that a good source or a bad source, and they start to cite things right from the reading. Or I see a lot of them like thinking out loud of how they might put it down on paper to link it to the math. So a lot of the strategies in the binder that we have, even though I didn't go through them all, a lot of the other teachers covered different ones than I did, and they're all starting to subtly emerge as we get near the end of the year. As far as, is it extra work? Not really. Is it extra planning? It's just a different thought process, knowing what to name it sometimes, especially for staff development activities. It's good to know the language of it, so when somebody says, like, I'm doing an exit ticket, and you're like, that's great, I just give them something at the end to see if they know what's going on. You're really talking about the same thing. So
The middle school kids seem to be very receptive of the reading strategies, and I think sometimes in content areas we overlook reading strategies because we're so worried about the facts of our content, and we really need to be aware of both. And this program helps you incorporate reading strategies to your content area.
I think my students have changed in the sense that they understand now why we look at things the way we do, and they're understanding how textbooks are written. I think they never really had an understanding as to why textbooks were written the way they were until I had the opportunity to really deconstruct my own thinking process and reconstruct it sort of live in front of them. It's I think improved their reading comprehension skills, their understanding, their fluency when it comes to reading history texts, which are, I think, different than your texts in your other classes.
And in the middle school, we try to work on similar strategies. So if I've taught one or they've learned one already in a different class, you know, they come to a different class and they're able to pick up right with it and realize that it applies to literature over all different types of content areas.
I've always thought the students I've had have always been willing to do the things I ask them to do in school. The difficulty's always been outside assignments and homework. And I think most high school kids probably shy away from reading for one reason or the other. The kids have been willing to do it, and they've been willing to follow my instruction, direction on it. And I think it gives them a little bit more confidence in that they can handle different assignments. The best readers are still the best readers. The average kid is still the average kid. But they have an opportunity to improve now. And I feel like I'm showing them some things that they could use.
My name is Leonard Rich. I'm the principal of Sharon Middle High School. We needed a professional development program because secondary teachers are taught how to teach content. They aren't taught how to teach reading. So the strategy that we told them was, you are the content experts and you are going to use your expertise to teach those children how to read your content. Another thing that we did is our instructional coaches analyzed every textbook for its reading level, and we found that we had some textbooks that were appropriate to grade level and we found some that were not. For example, we were using a 7th grade science textbook that had a 10 through 12 reading level. It wasn't appropriate, so rather than perpetuate the mistake, we've removed that textbook and supplemented other readings for that classroom. So what we have been on is a 3-year journey with Reading Apprenticeship. We partnered with Midwestern Intermediate Unit 4, and we devoted our in-service time. We also had share-out meetings where we would discuss what was working and what isn't. And as an administrator, I had to encourage the faculty to experiment and don't be afraid to fail. It's like riding a bike. You're not going to be good at it the first time you do it. We are currently in year 2. And what we do now that the faculty is trained is any new teacher participates in the 4-day training at the IU so that Reading Apprenticeship becomes ongoing and part of our culture, as well as we devote a portion of our Tiger time, approximately 4 Tigers a year out of the 12 to 16 that we have, approximately 4 per year, where we report out on 2 strategies that we've implemented in that quarter, and we select 2 more. We sit as grade level teams to record our report out. Those big post-its are then spread throughout the library, and then each grade level team has a narrator who reviews their discussion. So we not only want to see that strategies are appropriate across grade levels, but also across content areas. Because part of the report out was not only this is what I used, but this is why I used it. To next year then, we believe that Reading Apprenticeship will be an observable practice. It will be embedded in their evaluation portfolios. It will be ongoing progress monitored by the teachers. And what we're going to do is, instead of the select 2 new strategies and report out, we're going to have periodic Reading Apprenticeship discussions or roundtables as far as this is what I used and why. Keeping it part of the language, keeping it part of the lexicon, and therefore keeping it alive. Because as we know in education, those things that aren't followed through die on the vine. And Reading Apprenticeship for the Sharon City School District and for the Sharon Middle High School has been an invaluable tool and has been part of the transformation of instructional models in this building.